now we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of the oil change or changing the filter. It's time to see kind of what's new. How do we access the new tools, avoid strictly vendor-driven decision making, and then align our choices and organize. That's due today. Organizational needs, standards, and long-term support capabilities. So that's kind of what we'll be covering. And then I got a few plugs at the end. So we'll jump in, and if I'll have the rest of the group kind of introduce themselves and where they're at.
Yeah, I'm
Tim,
Will
you're up
DeWitt.
first. Or Will, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just
All good,
jumping in
all good.
because it's low. Yeah, I'm Will DeWitt. I work with USC. I'm in the Learning Environments Department, and we cover all the classrooms or all the general purpose classrooms on campus.
Nice.
All right, I'll go now. It's Tim Van Wert, Rutgers University, Newark, instructional technology specialist. We're responsible for about 100 general purpose classrooms, which is a fraction of what I was responsible with down in Rutgers, New Brunswick. Yeah.
Thank you. And then Ryan.
I'm Ryan Corcoran. I'm the audiovisual engineering director for Wichita State University. We manage about 600 spaces, but only probably 300 or 400 classrooms. And of those 300 or 400 classrooms, probably more than half of them are departmental, and the rest of them are just general use. So,
Nice.
but it's a lot of spaces. We've got like 5 people.
Wow, that is a lot of spaces for 5 people.
Mhm.
Also, thank you for using your word quota with us today.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm intrigued as the HETMA's approved program chair for this go round. What new things are you currently doing, not including the program? So if you don't, but like what's the new thing that you guys are kind of bringing in, updating? We'll start with that.
Well, I'll lead off because actually it ties in nicely to our previous panel. We are actually using a lot of digital whiteboarding and interactive displays. When I relocated up to Newark, I brought the interactive displays with me. They've already been kind of dabbling in it. But I brought a product that we'd been tested. We've put it through the ringer. It's been put out in classrooms. It's been readily accepted. And we're starting to roll those out into classrooms. I had an opportunity that we got a new chancellor for our campus this last year. So she was looking for a display for her office, and it was a great idea to bring that product into her office. So she is a regular user as well. So she's been a great supporter of that. And we also do use I put it in there. Logitech Scribe was the product we use for the digital whiteboarding piece. It's a nice little product. Any whiteboard you put it above the whiteboard and it turns it into a camera, like a capture display, and that's been a nice. That's what we've been kind of demoing. We have it in our we call it the fit room, and we've been testing it out there, and we're starting to get faculty in and getting them used to using the technology, and then we're rolling it out into the classrooms from there.
Nice. Really
Mhm.
cool. Will or Ryan?
Yeah, right now we're in the middle of rolling out the new Shure MXW wireless mics. Um, from a support side, it's really nice because it gives us the ability to monitor, all right, is the microphone actually on the dock? When was it last charged? What's the battery power? Is it actually flipped on? And you can also monitor like when it goes out of range. Because since we're an open campus and we're kind of downtown, sometimes
Yeah,
things have a tendency to walk away.
nice. That is really cool. I got to see that at a spot a little while ago, so I'm excited to hear how that all plays out as it's fully rolled out and ready to go.
Yeah,
Ryan,
so
what you
far it's
got new?
good.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, we're looking at the catch box kind of for the same reason. We've had the catch box, just the one that you put the belt pack in and you can throw that one around. But we've just tried their newer one though, which is like a self-contained system, and they also have a lanyard model. And we're actually kind of really liking it. Even though, we love our Sure belt packs or Sennheisers, like we love those, but these are just so convenient, and we like that tracking feature too. It's great. We haven't rolled it out too many places yet, but we are testing that out right now. We're also just starting to roll out Wi-Fi ALS. I know we had a session on it yesterday, and we're a little bit behind the curve on that just because right during the pandemic we deployed 60 IR based systems. We're not about to replace everything yet, but yeah, that's what we're working on.
Very cool. Those sound really, really good. And yeah, it's cool to hear the new things coming through, but it also sounds like you guys are doing it in a strategic way, kind of like we were talking about with not just throwing it in and making everybody do it, but kind of getting that playroom set up and sandbox or letting everyone kind of get into it and um, work the kinks out. And then so with that, it does fall into the why did I pick that word to start with? Organizational needs. And so what does that standardization look like for you guys as you bring in the new technology?
Yeah, for us, one of the big things is, yeah, we want all of our classrooms, all of our theater spaces, all of our auditoriums and stuff to be the exact same. So a teacher can walk into any place and immediately know how to use it, no matter if they've ever been in that classroom before. The only reason we're able to do like the microphone replacement now, kind of throughout the year, is because it's interoperable and it's pretty obvious. You just pick it up, it turns on. We even had a whole discussion because there are like different options on the buttons. We're like, no, strip all that away, make it as simple as possible. We don't want to have to train them with it all if we can help it. Because then we do our big upgrades like, like everybody else in the summer.
Mm.
Because then we have to retrain the teachers anyway in the fall. So, and we also want everything to be supportable and just, we don't want to have to mold around one specific product. Speaking of getting away from manufacturer-driven decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
No,
think
that's
that's the
really
beauty. Oh, I was gonna say, I think that's the beauty of standardizing on like a control system layout. Not talking about what you have on the back end, but for us, and goes New Brunswick, this goes Newark, and it also goes for Camden as well. The user interface stays the same in all the classrooms on each individual campus. So like the look and feel, like it doesn't matter. You're gonna walk into a room, you're gonna have that same interface, whether it's if I've got a Crestron switch on the inside, or if I've got an Extron switch, or if it's a Samsung new line, whatever's on the wall, it all controls the same way so that a faculty member can move from one to the other. We've also started implementing in-person training in our fit room. So that was part of the development process for that, was that it's the same setup as what is in our classrooms. So I could bring a faculty member in, work on them with the technology, and then put them back into a classroom without trying to figure out, okay, there's 30 minutes right here because this class hasn't, there's no switch yet. But yeah, so that's been kind of the way we've been helping with that, and regular surveys of the faculty to see what they're using and how it's working for them.
very cool.
Yeah, we're in the same as you guys are. The user experience is what we try to make consistent from room to room. Obviously, right after the pandemic, it was very easy to have every room have the exact same equipment. It was so easy. And then as rooms die, or as we add new rooms, sometimes the pieces that we used 5 years ago aren't available. And so we got to buy something new, but we got to make sure that the experience is the same. And it makes it better for the users, makes it a little bit worse for us techs, because we're like, wait, is that the room that has this, or is that the room that has that? And we have to kind of keep track of what's what and where's where. But we strive to make the user experience as consistent as possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have a couple different spaces. Our event spaces at Ames Community College, which is where I'm at. It's separate. We're all kind of the same in the event spaces, and then the classrooms are mostly the same, but we're also coming out of an era where everyone just kind of got to buy for themselves. And so our purchasing department is really trying to focus that in. So it's really good to hear some really good established ones, and that it is possible to kind of get it all under. And in line, but then also as you're transitioning through it with Ryan. I'm just kind of seeing in the chat that yeah, the being able to make the touch panels look similar is important, especially to get that seamless across the board look and feel to them. But yeah, so that's one of the really cool things. Um, my brain just short circuited. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
talking about sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say I was gonna bring up about how we do our demoing and our equipment testing. Um, so we have some wonderful partners that are out there, manufacturer partners that are willing to loan the equipment. And if that's something you struggle with, please reach out to the HETMA community. We can help you get a hold of the equipment, get you in touch with the right people. I will say 90% of all of them have some sort of programming in place. And if it's not a manufacturer, it's one of their distributors. A Midwich, a CDWG, they talk to them, find out they might have a program in place for that. So we get it in. It took a while down in New Brunswick, but we got down to a form that fills and check off the boxes. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Mark. So a little applause. I saw so we had make sure we hit all the check boxes. Okay, it hits network security. Okay, it hits 4K resolution. It hits audio routing. So that way we're making sure that no matter who in the department's doing the testing, it's the same thing. And if it's got to go off to the network operations folks for them to do their part, then we send it over there. They're there to get their part. So it's that standard is again that word standardization, but even in the forms that we use, so that way the communication stays open, everything flows nicely. And then at least for that part, and then you have your burn-in opportunity for running it and things like that. So that way, by the time it gets to a classroom, we've already done 95% of the work. Then the other 5% is okay, let's see how it holds up to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 300 days a year of abuse, so.
And don't forget about the HETMA approved program if you just want to try out equipment.
Yeah, there you go.
Especially new stuff. That's a good way to go. My favorite thing too for testing, yes, we run it through all the engineers, the network, everybody. But I like to just give it to the students and say, here, break this. Because who would have thought to play Call of Duty on a smart display? Okay, well, the resolution doesn't match up. Oh, it's only got 10 touch points because they were trying to do um, NFL style, graphics on it and stuff. Just random things that we wouldn't think of. You just give it to them, let them play.
Yeah, and I didn't give Chris a chance to plug for me. But in the chat, I did add the evaluators option. So if you would like to become an evaluator, go fill out that form. If you are higher ed, if you're a sponsor and you want to become part of the program, please reach out to us. I'll make sure to get a few more things in the chat as we go. But yeah, this one is for higher ed only. And then Ryan, if you want to say some things.
I was just going to say, I love Tim's idea of actually giving the device over to the networking folks. That's not something I've ever done or considered even. Usually I just look at it as does it support DHCP? Can I set things, the way that we care about? That's all I care about. That's the stuff I care about. So that's a great idea. I've never thought of that. I need to add that to my little checklist too.
I will say it depends, and there was only a few cases where we've had to do that, and one of them was a wireless collaboration device, because it was bridging the hardwire network with the Wi-Fi network, and that is where, and I think I mentioned this the other day, that's where we get the most butting of heads, is when you're trying to access something over the Wi-Fi that's also residing on the firewalled side of the network. Yeah. So.
And also multicast, like your ALS systems.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yes, those two. So any of those, that's where I like to get them involved. And, I'm still working on those relationships at the new spot. So it's almost like starting over.
Yeah, and kind of something that I wanted to touch on after our podcast, and if I'm missing something, please jump in. I feel like I lost a whole chunk of my notes. But I from the podcast conversation this morning, how do you guys have the conversation as we are refreshing and renewing things, to not be wasting funds or resources?
Well, I will say I work closely with our integrator. We have a great relationship with our integrator. And he's also a small mom and pop type integrator. So
Yeah.
we work very closely with him as far as like the pieces that can be reused, the pieces that need to be replaced, and working to make those sort of things happen, which also helps in the sustainability piece as well, that we're not just replacing hardware for the sake of replacing hardware. Um, so yeah, that relationship is I think the most important from our standpoint.
Nice.
It's hard. One thing that's hard for me is I feel like the one thing that we quote unquote wasted money on, ironically, is the ALS system. And I know it's just probably because it's on my brain, but like on the one hand, it's required. We have to have it, all these rooms, we have to do it. And yet at the same time, it's also the least used piece of equipment in the room. Maybe just under the Blu-ray player. I'm not sure. But like, literally, like, I think in the past 5 years, we've had a couple of users. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're pursuing the Wi-Fi is because I feel like we're meeting the law right now, but I want to do more than just meet the law. I want to actually provide a good experience for our students. And so there's plenty of students like we talked about yesterday who need an ALS system or will use one, even if they're not willing to, declare the fact that they need one or want one. But right now it feels like the biggest waste because we spent thousands of dollars to install these IR systems and they've never been used. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Wi-Fi systems just because it's so unobtrusive. Like if you need the IR system, the loop system, the whatever system, you have to go, you have to find somebody, you have to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they just have an app on their phone, they can just pull it up. And I mean, all those kids have like one earbud in half the time anyway. So it's not like it calls you out for needing it. So it's very unobtrusive and accessible.
Yeah, no, it's we've definitely had during some of our talks where we're literally getting going and an event person will come up and say, "Hey, we need a device." And it's like, I go find the locked closet and you have the key. So, and it's typically one of us running the whole event. So, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, we
Will, what
store
did
ours with,
you?
sorry.
No, go ahead. I was gonna
Oh,
put
so
it in
yeah,
the
we
chat.
store ours with the wireless microphones.
Yeah, ours is in the back AV closet, and so I mean they have a key, but don't really want them poking around back there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What did you drop into chat, Will?
Oh, yeah, I guess it didn't come through. It was just a picture of or a video of
Okay,
us playing Mario Kart on a video wall it's the
Okay.
new video wall in the
very
gaming
cool.
center.
Yeah, I just didn't want to like pull it up in the middle and it start going crazy.
Mm,
So, no.
Yeah, it wasn't important.
Oh, but it is important because that's a different way of testing, and
mhm.
it's something that the
Exactly.
students would use. We
They
have
actually do use
a
it.
right. We have a room that we don't have a it's a gaming club, and so they'll just plug in whatever they have to our HDMI cable, and just if it works, it works, and haven't heard anything from them, and it gets to work across the campus, so they really enjoy that.
Mm.
Yeah, we have a gaming lab, so we we have to test everything out.
Yeah, it as
Well,
as we should.
I will say, as you build relationships with your faculty members, you find out the ones that have the what's the word? Cursed touch. And they tend to be your best demo people. So the ones that are most critical, the most needy, I guess, is you learn who you can ask these sort of things of, and some of them are more open to it than others. And but as that time goes by, like, and I've got like my handful, like I know the ones that I need to reach out to for, and they'll be the ones that'll tell you, okay, this is fine, sucks. It's like it's like this is just going to make my class way harder. It's like, well, that's not what we want to do. So
Yeah, I've had a couple that I'm like, how are you doing that. Like they've got like a custom Android setup and stuff. I'm like, "Oh, whatever. It works for you. It doesn't mess with anybody else. You do you. I'm happy. Just whatever."
Yep.
hmm
We have a port on the wall that is like, if it goes into the HDMI there, have at it. Have fun. If it
hmm
doesn't work, it doesn't work, and when you try something else later, I guess. Um, so I know that I think everyone here has done part of the approved program.
hmm
Mhm.
Um, have you been able to specifically take those products that you did and integrate them, or is it more of a try it and do it for the group?
Well, I was doing it for the group. Although I will say my Hudley one that I got is actually what I'm using here today. So that was in the
Nice.
early days of the program. So that's been hanging out here. And the Go that was at my office that I was having trouble with Tim being way far away yesterday. That was that was also, it was the same package. The Go and the one came through in the same set. So I do it for the good of the organization.
And
Yeah,
we
same.
appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I try to just I don't always request everything that's on the list because for one, there's a lot on the list, and
Yes.
for two, I want to make sure that I'm evaluating products that I actually feel confident that I can evaluate objectively. That's one of the hardest things I've found with working on these evaluations is there's a difference between yes, this product does exactly what the manufacturer says it does and it does it well, does it correctly, et cetera, versus I don't want this, I don't need this, I don't like this. So there's a very, being having to separate that objective from the subjective evaluation.
Yeah, when I'm evaluating them, sometimes it's for like something we might put in. Um, but well, I'm reading the chat. Teddy says that he's found several devices that made his way into his standards. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily because I know I can use it. It's more to see if it works and to kind of do it for the program and recommend it to others. Um, because let's be honest, everybody knows from Joe that we have a little bit of money. So it's not like we have trouble getting products to test if our engineers really want them and are really considering them. So I'm more just trying to help everybody out and doing it. And honestly, it's fun. Like I enjoy
Yeah.
getting to play with something and tear something apart and not having to worry about it. And also it comes to me. And so I'm responsible for it, not the university where it has to go through a whole rigmarole of getting it shipped in, getting it documented, getting all this stuff. So I get to have some fun.
Nice. Yeah. No, it's I feel that when I've just stepped in and done a few of them, that it's mostly because I think it's something that we could use, and is this specific piece an upgrade to what we have as we move into new things. And so it's really cool to get a different perspective. Because I haven't really sat down and chatted with people face to face on it. I get the evaluations,
Yeah,
and
you
kind of
never
get to
know.
read
Sometimes,
through.
yeah, you never
Yeah.
know. Sometimes things work out. Sometimes there are things like, this isn't going to work for us, but it's a good product,
Right.
just
It works
not
well
for
for
my
the
environment.
for the higher ed platform, but not you specifically, which is also valid. It's
Yeah, so
appreciated.
it's like, oh, if I was in my old job, we would totally use this, but new job, not so
Right.
much.
I'm curious, as we're talking about the approved program,
Yeah.
I know I personally have evaluated a few of them and said, I
hmm
do not recommend this for the approved program. I'm
Hmm.
curious about the others who have evaluated, is that something you don't hesitate to do?
Not
I've
at all.
definitely seen a handful of do not approves, and
hmm
it's definitely and that's what they need to hear, and it goes back and they're able to, if they would like to take our um word for it and move forward on that, then that's great. If they don't really care and they're going to just keep pushing it as is, then that's on them as well.
Yeah.
And that also reads to what we're doing for um not being vendor driven also. And so
hmm
it vendor is also manufacturer. So they can push all they want, but it does need to work for what we do. And it may be more of a consumer level, and then we kind of fit right in the middle of all of that. We're a very unique vertical, and so I think it's good to hear the very different aspects and views that we all have on it and what we do. And I think that's one of the big reasons for the program and why I actually really enjoy helping on the backside of it. I can't do a lot of the front end at this point, but I look forward to growing into that and having a space to do that because I don't right now, which is part of sometimes the struggle. And so it's nice to have other people that have a sandbox and have a place to go kick the tires and different things so that as I go and look back, those products are there. And it's backed by an organization that I trust.
Yeah, if we want our name to mean something, we can't just accept
Yeah.
anything. We've got to actually want to recommend it. Like, what would you recommend to your buddy here? Like, if I wouldn't recommend
Right.
it to any of y'all, then I'm not going to approve it.
And for our audience, I will reiterate that if you don't like it, yes, the manufacturer may have where those were sent, but they don't have who that came from. So they will not get the names line to line about what you said about that product. It is blind as we can do it in this layout. And so just to reiterate that it is blind. So if you don't approve something, you don't have to say anything about it. And you can, but also it is a blind thing. So they don't know that you said that.
Yeah.
So.
Teddy says, I stand behind what I say. I'll tell them to their faces. I'm kind of the same way. Like if they I'm not going to volunteer the information to their faces, but if they ask me, I will tell them to their faces.
Right. And I think that's okay too, but it is by your discretion also.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate that for those watching and in our audience that yeah, you can be as removed as you would like to be on that.
Teddy actually mentioned something a little bit earlier about how some have changed licensing models after the approval process. And I've actually not with licensing, but I've had other things happen like that where I approved a product and then something else changed that made that product not as effective or not as whatever. And I was like, ooh, I wish I'd known that then and I would have changed my answer a little bit.
Right. And that is the other thing to state is that, and it is said in our thing is when we approve something, it is of that model, that licensing, that thing that we did, that it is when we are doing the program, when we are approving it or denying it. So it's not just a blanket from now until forever. It is this one. So if it does significantly change, it does need to be resubmitted. Yes, it is not
forever.
Yes, good teamwork on that one. So we do have quite a few approved products out there right now that are ready to be signed up for. I know we've had a handful of people in the last couple days submit in, but if it's something you want to see, we're always looking for new approvers. So please hop in there. We have, I will drop that link in right now. So that is to sign up for higher ed only. And we will be checking emails on that. I will be. So you can see what we are currently have available to be, and we'll get connected to things. Thank you, Tim, for your time. I know you have to bounce.
Sorry,
Appreciate you.
folks. I gotta duck out. So thank you very much. Great job, everybody. And I'll leave it over to the rest of y'all.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Till the next adventure.
Yeah, until
Yes,
our
till
next
then.
adventure.
Look at that. Full circle for Tim today. But yeah, so we do have quite a few ready to be signed up for. And those manufacturers are itching and rearing to get those products out to get tested, um, and hopefully approved. But again, it is not a pay to play. It is you're getting what we have to say about it. Yeah, that too. Teddy does have a really good point. Don't just put it through and then discontinue it. That does make it hard to keep it on the list, and we do try to keep that updated on what is um, running as of current and what is not. Um, yeah. You two have any additional things? I moved
I
faster
was,
than I was anticipating. I do apologize.
we're doing good. I don't know. I've seen a couple interesting things with ceiling mics and kind of tying into PTZs for zooming in, sort of AI type stuff. Have y'all tried out any of that?
Not right now.
Not with the auto framing kind of stuff. It's a little bit out of our budget.
Yeah,
Aaron Peterson has.
yeah, I've seen a discussion with, I don't think I can say who yet, in the past week, but they've got something new coming out that'll tie in with some low cost cameras. Um, that'll tie into that. I know there's a couple other
Hmm.
manufacturers I've seen. I'm a little skeptical of that just because I've seen too much where like it instantly tracks to any noise and it doesn't have like a buffer. I think they're starting to
Yeah,
get a little bit better about that, but like somebody coughs, I don't want the camera to whip around somebody in the audience or like somebody rustle papers or stuff like that. It's I don't know. Yeah, like
does
Aaron
need a
said, I
little
kind
bit of
of
guidance.
yeah, I like more like preset stuff. I've even seen like pressure pads where a teacher steps in front of the podium and it snaps to that. I don't know. My usual thing when I see like auto framing is can I turn it off?
Right.
Because a lot of people don't like it, or I've got a lot of teachers kind of going back to the previous panel's discussion that want to zoom everything out so they can see the whiteboard. And so
Yeah.
we're experimenting with some of the whiteboard cameras and stuff like that to put those in. I've seen some neat demos from several different people that I don't know may work. We'll see.
Yeah, we actually have our tracking turned off by default in 99% of the spaces, because we got a couple calls at the start of the semester saying, are you guys watching me?" Because the camera was constantly moving. They thought somebody was watching them. And so we thought, well, we'll turn it off by default. And if you want to turn it on, there's a button on the touch panel you can press. But then there's a few other spaces we leave it on because they do use it every time. So, but yeah, off by default, definitely.
Yeah, that's we have one conference room that got turned into office space because they didn't anticipate the size of the team that was going to be moving in. Great fun. And so it was literally behind this, like it would be right here, would be a giant 4K PTZ camera and just like just reset the room and all of a sudden it's looking at her. So she didn't like that. So we tried to disconnect that one because they weren't using it, and that was what we needed to do. Aaron did have a good question. When testing out potential equipment to put in your rooms, how do you pick which ones go um, with when there are many options?
That's a great
For,
question. Like,
for us, it's mostly what will integrate best with our systems. Also cost, but what will integrate with what we've already have so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, or if we've already got brand A, will brand B work with the settings we already have, or do we have to completely go through and reprogram all of our control interfaces, all of our monitoring, everything? If it'll will and it's better or cheaper, then we'll go with that. But yeah,
yeah, we're the same way. Cost is up there, but it's not always number one. It's usually number two. And programmability, integratability is number one. We have to be able to control it. We have to be able to monitor it. We have to be able to track it. All those things. Number two is, price. Absolutely. As Joe A is famous for saying, we don't just buy one of something; we buy 300 of them. So
Right.
it has to be scalable.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Baker also has something as one phrase that I use when evaluations is price to performance. So that is also very important. It's like, yeah, it can be the greatest camera in the world, but if it is too expensive to put 300 in, that's not going to be the one that gets picked. So might in a few key spaces, but not on the mass. That's for sure.
And we've been bitten by that before too. Like, a standard manufacturer that we use all the time. We bought a new product for them, sight unseen, without testing, without doing anything, thinking, oh, everything else from this manufacturer has been pretty solid, so we'll just go ahead and buy it. We rolled it out in an entire building, and it was junk, absolute junk.
Dang.
And
yeah,
what do you do?
Wait 7 years and replace it. Limp through whatever you got. Zoom carts for the win. No, it's
Yeah, that's rough. We actually have a bunch of those just as our backups.
Yeah, our IT department was getting rid of a Zoom cart that was fully equipped, all the things, and they were just like, yeah, we're gonna get rid of this. And I was like, we're gonna put it up in this closet back over here and hide it in the corner. So I now have 3 that I can move around when my building decides it doesn't want to play, which is often.
Yeah, we use the D10s on wheels basically for that.
There you go.
Neat's good as well, but they're heavy, way heavier.
Yeah.
We've also got a couple Artemis, or Automes. I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but basically it's a small or a short throw projector with the built-in microphone and speaker, which is nice as a crash cart.
Yeah. It is always good to have those backups because you never know when something is gonna need to a little bit more love and attention that's not just the humans in our world. Baker asks, outside of approved, does it affect your decision if you are unable to get a demo unit or of a product that you are thinking would work in your space?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Especially if I'm going to be buying 200 of them.
Right.
If I can't get a demo unit, I'm really not likely to do that.
Fair. Would if you saw it working in somebody else's space, but not get it in yours?
And if I could see it working, I might consider
Okay.
buying one as a one-off,
Yeah.
but that's still very unlikely. Like if you aren't going to give me the support of at least giving me a demo, then how much support am I going to get from you going forward?
Right. That is a very good place or very good way to say that. And Teddy also says that he does not buy without a demo, and he doesn't mean that the company bringing it to him and watching him use it, and he wants to put it through its paces, which is totally understandable. Yeah, after being able to like seeing the buildings that I've seen at this point that are definitely all of the big name brands that we all have and see and stuff, and it not being done well, then yeah, that is also something that's very important to see it all come together as a whole thing.
There have been a few times where I've bought something that I haven't tested, but because one of my staff said, "Oh, we use this at my church and we use it and we like it," that's if they're going to be the ones supporting it anyways, it's like, well, okay, you know what you're doing with it, so okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it does kind of depend. Like, are we using like 5 of these, and is it under $1,000 a piece? Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But am I going to build a whole system around this and have to support it? Then no, not happening.
Yeah. And Philip, I agree. You have to know what they're doing what they're using behind the scenes. So the we do want to see the man behind the curtain. We want to see the nitty gritty. We want to see the dirty little details, and because that's where the little things hide. And it's, yeah.
Yeah, consultants, Tim.
Yes, it is. They get their money somewhere, and sometimes that's force feeding gear to people.
I definitely got
Don't
bit
all of
last year by not doing testing.
Mm.
I thought I did all of my research properly, and I bought a Auracast ALS system for a couple of rooms, and I read all the specs, and I read the PUE, and I made a lot of assumptions based on the PUE and the network and all that it was also going to be providing Wi-Fi ALS as well. And I just made some assumptions and put it in.
Mm.
I put it in, and I was like, wait, I can't use this. How does anybody use this? And did more research. It's like, oh, you have to have this compatible device, and so we ended up sticking a Wi-Fi one in there with it. But definitely do your homework and do your demos.
Yeah, and each one is definitely like it may work for you and in your space, but it may not work for another, but it is a good benchmark to have. And yes, Teddy, we do know what assume means.
Yeah, Mark asked if doesn't impact our decision making if the demo has strict timelines or return or 750-point agreements you have to to sign on to before sending the demo. And it depends how long is the timeline. Because like I had someone one time send me a demo, didn't tell me they had sent it. It was sitting in like the shipping department for a week and a half. And then they email me like, hey, we need you to send that back at the end of the week. I'm like, you didn't even tell me you sent it. Now I got to go down to receiving, get it all sorted out. And I didn't do business with them anymore. As far as agreements, it depends on what it is. If it's just a standard NDA, yeah, okay. We sign those all the time. That's not a big deal. I can't do it on behalf of the university, but I'll do it on personally and blah, blah, blah. So it kind of depends.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
same way.
and yeah, it it is definitely, and yeah, some of those 30-day ones are a little harder, which is why we've tried to move ours to the 60, 90 days with some caveats on it depends on when it gets here, timing situation. And so we do try to honor um the timelines of everyone, but sometimes if it's harder to get people to sign up for it this time, it does drag out the process a little bit. And I do try to be very forward with that when I am talking with manufacturers. As we are volunteers. This is strictly volunteer, and we do the best we can, but our colleges and universities come first, as do our students. So, any last words from you guys? I know we have about 10 minutes, but I do also want to open it up to any additional questions from chat also. But if you guys have some last words.
Well, I'll say kind of outside the approved program, talking about just emerging technologies, the thing that I'm struggling with the most is when we have all these manufacturers who are trying to make that one, that magic box that fits every solution kind of situation. And like right now, I'm struggling to find just like a sound bar with just a camera and a mic, and that's it. Like you would think that would be the simplest thing because that's, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that's all you could get, right? But now
Right.
every one of them's, cramming in an operating system, a touch panel interface, a wireless something or other. And it's like, no, I just want the camera and the mic. That's all I want. And it's getting harder and harder to find stuff like that. And I have a few other situations like that. I mean, AV over IP, of course, is like the word of the day, and everybody's cramming in AV over IP. And it's like, well, but 95% of my rooms, HT-based is just fine. And so why do I want to spend 10 times as much to do the same thing I can do with HT-based T? And yet manufacturers are slowly getting rid of HT-based T. And it's like, but it's fine. Now
Yeah.
I'm the old guy in the room, right?
Well, and that is that we do span, because I mean, a lot of don't have the time to do upgrades for the 10 years, and it's like when things break. And so if you can limp it along a little bit more, then yeah, you're going to want to try to do that without starting half your rooms on a refresh and getting out of sync if that's what you do. But yeah, sometimes that is difficult to do as the technologies increase and loop back around or don't loop back around.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing is just supportability. And I mean, that's a large part of my role is like just supporting the classroom. So the easier we can make it, the simpler we can make it. More often than not, I want to strip features out and disable and hide them from the user because sure, teacher number one knows how to use it, but then teacher two comes into the classroom 10 minutes later and teacher one's changed all these things that he knows how to use and the next person doesn't. So then we get a call and they're like, this room never works. Well, it works whenever we test it, but we test it before teacher one comes in. So
yeah. And yeah, well, you do have the ones that want to be on that cutting edge and want to learn all of the things, and want to do that. But then it is the bell system that we were seeing earlier yesterday at the AI keynote. You have the ones that really want to jump in on that early part of the bell, and ones that'll fight it all the way to the end until it's the only option. Not saying that AI is going to be the only option. Dear God, I hope not.
exactly.
But it is a good tool. But I'm going back to the bell is I just saw chat kind of went a little crazy. So it does look like there are a few options out there as you scroll through chat for different things. Yeah, well, yes. We do play ref a lot. It is that white glove service, and it definitely you build the relationships with those that you can. And that is something that I saw a lot of as conversation through this. It is the relationships that you build. And sometimes that is a little bit more white glove than sometimes we wish to use. Travis, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you all have like dedicated testing areas, or do you pick a conference room and just like do it for a while and swap out with something else and just let the customers use the thing while it's being tested?
I don't. So basically for me, it's whatever I can do in an office space that maybe isn't fully connected. And so that's for me, but that's also why I don't do a good majority of them.
To quote BC Hatchett, real pros test in production.
That's right.
We've got a big office space where a lot of our people are housed, and we test in there. Like we have basically a classroom set up in that room, and we use it for conferences and Zooming, stuff like that. Whenever we have a rep come in, we have them connect to that. So we just kind of swap that in and out and test it. We also have a little tiny conference room that we use strictly for training our students because we're heavily reliant on students. And we basically go in there and break it and then tell them to fix it. But it lets us kind of have some options for testing out new equipment. And if it doesn't work for us, then it's not going to work at all.
No, that's really valid.
I'd say for the most part, I test stuff in my office. We also have like an equipment room that has a little bit of space that we can use. And I rarely will actually test something in a production space. There was one item that the manufacturer was letting us keep, and it just so happened that the specs worked perfectly for a project I was designing. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stick this in there and hope. And it's still there. So it worked.
It's working in the space.
As a follow-up, this came off of something someone was saying in the chat too, I encounter a lot of times when quite frankly, a lot of the technology, particularly around like Zoom rooms, Teams rooms, a lot of these manufacturers offer almost exactly the same experiences. So trying to compare them really gets nuanced. Like little things can make the difference. Um, I, had mentioned in the chat that, sometimes I will actually end up making like a weighted pro con list where, yeah, two things might do the same thing, but here's the reasons, I have to weight some more than others for different reasons. What kind of sort of deep, ways do you make decisions when you've got products that are so close in their capabilities?
If it's close enough, if the user experience is the same, then it's just whatever's easier to work with. And that could come down to cost. It could come down to integration with our existing systems. It could come down to our rep and how easy they are to work with. Because like we were talking earlier about demos, yeah, maybe it's a 30-day demo, but we need another month. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Or are they local? Can they just drop it off so we don't have to deal with shipping and receiving? So like little things like that make a huge difference.
Yeah, no, that is, and I also agree with Teddy where it's like, yeah, cost, ease of use, whoever's willing to drive to for him, Eastern Kentucky. For me, it's Northern Colorado because we're just far enough away from Denver to not have it be easy access.
Wichita. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, will they send you an advanced replacement? That's a big one too.
Yeah.
If something
Mhm.
breaks, can we get it before we send it back?
All right. Thank you,
Oh,
Hazel.
hello.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My niece. So yeah, no, well, thank you everyone. This was really good. Again, we have plenty of products in the approved program right now that are looking to be tested and looking to be considered. And so I will re-put it in the chat as we go into happy hour and different things, but we also have the group in the community and always ask questions. We're here and yeah, we'll see you all in the community. Thank you to Will, Ryan, and Tim who had to step out early. I really appreciate you all being on here with us.